share this video with a friend.
Folks, it's the Texas DWI Survival Guide, a Citizens Protection Manual. And, you know, Jamie, it's got your name there at the top, but tell me about these other guys that are in here and why people should get this book and what they'll learn in the book. And then I want to get into all the subjects you want to talk about as a constitutional lawyer.
Bruce Edge is a regent of the National DUI College, and John Hunsucker is a very close friend and colleague of his there up in Oklahoma. John's in Oklahoma City and Bruce is in Tulsa. Terrific guys, very knowledgeable. They've headed up the DWI fight in Oklahoma and nationally as well. If you don't have the scientific knowledge to fight the state's power in a DWI case, you're going to lose. These breathalyzers are unreliable. The credibility of the officers, if you don't know how to take them on in a cross-examination, they can just run over you like a bull. These guys are tremendous. They've helped spearhead a nationwide series of books on DWI and how to, for the people to understand. You know, you can pick this book up and read through it quickly in a day, 2 days, keep it on the toilet.
This is the criminalization of the whole country, basically.
Well, you know, they wanted to go down to 05 here recently. They're going to keep pressing that. They're going to keep pressing it further and further. A commercial truck driver, if he goes out on a Friday night with his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and on the way home gets pulled over in a DWI, right away his commercial license is taken away. His right to have a living is taken away. The surcharges start slamming them. You take your driver's license away. How are you going to get to work? Will you drive? How do you get your kids to school? Will you drive?
And it's just like they used the dead babies in the incubators Saddam thing to invade and kill millions of Iraqis. Wasn't true. They hype up the bad drunk drivers that have had 20 drinks and run somebody down, but now they're going to move on to the people that are texting that are 5 times more dangerous and take them to jail. I mean, at a certain point, am I right or wrong to say it should just be reckless driving? If somebody's driving recklessly, it's a serious charge, but if they're not being reckless, then, I mean, what did we do before this police state?
Before we started multiplying the laws every year exponentially, it's incredible. I knew how to spot a drunk driver when I was a police officer, a rookie, just like you and your listeners do. If someone's drunk and they're a danger, then they need to be arrested and they need to be taken off the street so they don't hurt somebody. But, you know, do we give them rehabilitation if they're an alcoholic or a repeat offender? Or do we just throw them in jail and keep that money churning, make them go to classes, make them pay surcharges? We had laws in the books, just like you're talking about, reckless driving. There's criminally negligent homicide for someone who's texting or fatigued, shouldn't be driving, drunk driving. But that's a small percentage, you know, of fatality cases. What they like to do is expand it all over all of us and bring in the money.
Well, now we see cases like in Phoenix where the woman had 1 glass of wine, but the people called the police on her, and then the CPS came and took her kids. Or then another lady had gone to the dentist and had come out, her mouth was numb, so people thought she was drunk and they took her to jail. I mean, there's all these little secret police now, too.
In Arizona, if you are a citizen of Colorado and smoke some marijuana before you go to bed because you've got backache and don't want to take prescription medication and get hooked on that garbage, then you go to Arizona and they pull you over 20 days later and they find the metabolite, the dead THC in your body.
Breakdown.
They charge you with the DWI, and they'll put you in jail. They'll take your blood there on the hood of the patrol car if they have to. They don't even get search warrants.
Yeah, that's where I first, like, it must have been almost 18 years ago, saw the first articles people would fax me at the radio station of warrantless checkpoints taking blood in Phoenix, and people didn't believe me back then. They thought, no way in America.
The DWI checkpoints, in Texas, we have driver's license checkpoints because DWI checkpoints aren't allowed at this point. So they have a driver's license checkpoint. Well, what do they make you do? Roll down your window and speak to them so they can smell your breath. If you crack your window a ½ inch and hand them your driver's license and insurance paperwork, they're going to start demanding that you roll that window down. The police don't have a right to do that.
Then they pull you over, search your vehicle. But then even if you end up going to jail for something, now they violated the 4th Amendment, right? You're going to get out of it.
Well, you better have a good lawyer, and
yeah.
Those of us who know how to file these motions and argue them. And also, though, police officers know how to testify. Sometimes we refer to it as test a lie. They know how to leave stuff out, bring stuff in so they can pass muster. In San Antonio, we have videos in about a third to a half of the cases. So in the other half of the cases, it's his word against yours. Well, who does the judge believe? The decorated police officer or the citizen? And what's disturbing, though, is when it's the fourth, fifth, sixth citizen who's saying that particular police officer is lying, these judges have to wake up and go, you know, all these people aren't making this up. Why would a police officer lie to make a misdemeanor arrest? You brought up money earlier. There are Austin police officers, their base pay may be around $50,000. On the DWI task force, they're making another $50, $60, $70, $80,000 in overtime.
You're talking $130,000.
140, I think, is what the top one brought in. And if they've got alimony or child support or a new boat payment or a girlfriend on the side, they need money. Now, do I let you go or do I arrest you if I'm going to make that kind of money on the side? Too many of these guys are arresting people that should never be arrested. That's why you've got to know your rights. You've got to, you know, my website, DWIDude.com, will tell you what to do and what not to do, what to say, what not to
You know,
say.
that's what I love is most of these good DWI lawyers and constitutional lawyers, I know you cover other cases as well, they don't give you any info. You put big ads in the paper that give people basically the info free. I mean, it's just so important that people visit your site.
I have a lot of people that I meet around town. They'll say, it's almost like you don't want us to be your client. I said, I don't. I don't want to meet you when you're getting out of jail.
You got more business you can handle sometimes.
Yes, but stay out of jail. You know, now if somebody gets busted, I want their business.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not cheap. Cheap lawyers aren't good. Good and great lawyers aren't cheap. That's another little saying we have over there.
Believe me, I know. I've got a good lawyer as well.
It's someone's, I think Red Adair was talking about oil field fires. He said, if you think I'm expensive, try hiring an amateur.
Exactly.
You're in real trouble for many years.
Absolutely, yeah.
But so many people, college graduates, if you ask them just some rudimentary questions or some simple questions about their constitutional rights, they almost all fail. Now, a pre-law graduate will do pretty well. But your basic college student doesn't know his rights.
Well, give us the bottom line. Give out your website again so people can go see that all over the country. That's the basic facts, but also the books at InfoWarsStore.com where you can really get details. But specifically, this is how it usually is. I go to a meeting downtown at 8 o'clock at night. I get out of the meeting. I'm driving home. And obviously, I know don't drink because it's like piranhas down there.
Sure is.
Boom, cop pulls me over. They immediately come, oh, you were going 5 miles over the speed limit. And then they see I'm not drinking, so they go, okay, you can go. And I go, hey, I know, you know, that you were just DWI checkpoint, really. Or sometimes they say, hey, I want you to get out. I'm going to search the car. I say, no, violates my rights. What do you have to hide? I'm going to go, come on, knock it off, man. But I mean, what should I do? What should somebody do when they get pulled over?
The police like to say, I want to make sure you're safe to drive. Well, all of a sudden, the burden's on you instead of the burden on them to prove you're unsafe to drive. Well, always be polite. You know, the first thing I tell people, don't drive drunk. If there's any question in your mind, tell yourself, I'm going to be stopped. And if I'm going to be stopped, do I really feel like I should drive home? Call a cab. It's a lot cheaper than my law firm. But be polite, but be firm. You don't have to answer their questions about where you've been, what you've been doing. You don't have to take the field sobriety test. Most people will fail that test. Some officers say, well, it's not a pass or fail. What they're trying to do is to glean evidence that you're not normal when they don't even know what your normal is. They don't know if your speech is slurred or if you're tired. They don't know how you normally speak, so limit what you say. I always tell people, have your driver's license and insurance card in a place where you can give it to the policeman quickly and without dropping it. Don't hand them your Montgomery Ward card instead of your driver's license. Although you're scared, you have anxiety, you're thinking, drink, drive, go to jail. I drank. I'm going to jail. What am I going to tell my wife? I'm going to lose my job. Busted mugshot is going to put me on the internet and in their magazine and humiliate me in front of the public. All these things are going through your mind, so you have to have a game plan ahead of time. The book tells you what to do, but to simplify it, be polite. Don't give the officer a reason to arrest you. Decline any physical agility tests that they want you to do. Don't answer questions about where you've been drinking, how much you've been drinking, because that can mislead them to make an improper decision that you're intoxicated. Or they'll just say, You know, he admitted he was drinking. Well, if you smelled it on my breath and I'm telling you that I had something to drink, doesn't that mean I'm an honest citizen? No, it means I'm an intoxicated driver to them.
But it's also hypocritical. You have all these restaurants with all the wine, all the beer, all the everything. You go out, you're at a business meeting, and you're just like, I better not even have one glass. Because even if it's one glass, they're going to still say driving under the influence, right?
They sure are. There's a federal program, and all the major cities have them. It's the STEP program. And it's federally funded throughout both while the officers are out working it and for all their overtime. And they have a rotation list. The officers, they call you, hey, you're up to work the DWI STEP program Friday night. Oh, great, I'll make some overtime money and court money. If you don't make an arrest while you're working that shift, the next time your name comes up, you get passed. So there's actually a bounty on making a DWI arrest in Austin, in San Antonio, in Houston, and Dallas. It's very disturbing. And when jurors find this out, that's why this guy got arrested, who looks sober on the videotape, we're getting not guilty jury verdicts.
It's just so annoying. I've had him pull me over, too, and ask, are you on, and I started laughing, and he goes, oh, or you're drunk. And I got out and laughed at him and said, no. The cop says, are you on PCP? And he said, are you on any drugs or anything like PCP? And I started laughing, and he goes, what, you know, are you drunk? And I went, no, do I look like I'm on PCP? I actually got out of the car and started laughing at him. He's like, you can go, but the point was, I just couldn't believe he said that. What, have you heard of that?
What they're gonna say in court is you had a delayed response, and that's something about PCP. There is a slight delay before you go crazy and rip the door off the hinges. But the matter...
Oh, so I probably paused when he said something and was thinking.
You were deliberate. You were using your mental faculties. You were actually thinking like a well-thought-out person, a sober person would do. They turned that into, oh, he's confused. He's obviously intoxicated on drugs or alcohol. It's like
I've never seen PCP.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't want to see anybody who's on it. I have. I've had to fight with them in the past.
Oh, really?
And it's bad stuff, but I can guarantee you there's no mistaking you and anyone on PCP.
Yeah, so it's just a way to make you feel guilty. Look at this article. Drinking and walking is the new crime. I shot this video just out on the streets of Austin. They now have the signs saying, don't drink and walk. But it's all downtown culture now, all those high-rises. How do you go eat dinner and then walk home having a...